Hello and welcome to Evolution Power Tools. My name is Lee. I work here as part of the design team here in our UK head office. So today I have with us the RAGE5-S table saw. This is a 255mm multi-material cutting table saw and blade. So the purpose of today's video is to guide you through some of the steps after assembly of your saw in order to fully set up, fine-tune, and calibrate your machine for optimum use. Now for your own safety, if you're uncertain about using any aspect of this equipment, please access the relevant technical helpline, the number of which can be found on the Evolution Power Tools website. We operate several helplines throughout our worldwide network, which is the USA, France, and the UK. So technical assistance is also available from your supplier as well as ourselves. We're working on the basis that you've already purchased your machine and it's already assembled. If not, there's an assembly video on the Evolution Power Tools website you can refer to help get your machine assembled. Well, we're starting off. You should have a table saw that looks something like this, a fully assembled RAGE5-S sitting here right now. The first step in your fine-tuning process is to make sure that your rear rail is flush with the side of the sliding table here. You've got your front rail with all the scale numbers on it. The fence picks up on here. It also picks up on the back rail. So to make sure this is flush, you just feel with your fingers. The black plastic end cap on this extruded part here should be flush with the black painted sliding fence. You can see that there. So that should be flush. If you do want to adjust it, there's two screws underneath here, the black painted part here. This is all adjustable with an Allen key, very easy to adjust. You get under here, loosen the screw, push it into place so it's nice and flush, tighten the screw, and you're good to go. You have a nicely aligned sliding table. Okay, up next, we're talking about the blade guard and the riving knife. These are important to the function of the saw, and they're also important pieces of safety equipment here. The blade guard, that's self-explanatory. Keep your fingers away from this blade. And the riving knife in back here is important because as you're cutting the material, this riving knife helps keep it separated as you cut. That way the wood won't close back up and bind on the blade. This helps you make a nice, safe, accurate cut. This is all adjustable underneath this orange plastic cover, which we'll take off. We'll show you the fine adjustments here. And this is all set up nicely from the factory. You shouldn't have to mess with it. There should be a 3mm gap between the teeth and the curve of the riving knife. And that's about to it. So we'll show you how to adjust and set this up for different cuts. Okay, so here's how it works. The blade guard is easy to remove in case you need to adjust anything. We just undo this one little thumb screw here, put it outside, and then the saw comes with these blade changing spanners, or wrenches if you will. We'll just use one end in here to loosen this little fastener, raise it up. Also a 10p coin or a quarter works. Pop that in there. And when you're looking inside here, you can see the adjustment for the riving knife and the access to the blade, to change the blade. So we'll just use the small end of this. There's one bolt. We'll loosen that off. And then you can raise or lower the riving knife. You can see this to suit the cut that you want. And then we'll just put it back on here, tighten that. Now this is a long handle, so make sure you don't pull too tight and over tighten it. One thing to pay attention, there's a metal casting here, and there's an arrow. If you can see the detail of this arrow, that's supposed to be pointing to the center of the blade. So if you install this part the wrong direction without the arrow pointing to the center, you're going to have a little bit of a misalignment. We'll put this back on, lock it down, and reinstall the blade guard. The screw for this just goes through this little hole here, real quick and simple. Tighten that up, and we're good to go. Up next in fine-tuning your table saw is to ensure that the blade is aligned straight. Perfectly steering straight. If this is misaligned, you're going to get a terrible cut. Now, this is set up from the factory, so you'll probably never have to do this, but it is adjustable, and we'll show you how to do that in this video here. What we'll do is we'll take the blade guard off just to help get better visibility. Now, our reference for this is this groove, because of course, the sliding fence, everything is aligned with this groove. You want to make sure that the blade is parallel with this groove, and here's how we do it. You take a nice accurate ruler, and you take a measurement from the body of the blade to the edge of this groove. So you put this at the rear of your blade, take a measurement at the front of the blade, same measurement. These match, so I know this is nice and aligned. That's great. If you do want to adjust it, here's what you do. Now the blade assembly is held to the table with these 4 screws. You don't mess with these screws, these 3, but the one here at the rear, this is the one that allows you to adjust the mechanism here. So we'll loosen this screw off. This frees it up, and then you can slightly adjust the steering of the blade with that, and then tighten it all back down. You shouldn't have to adjust this, but if you do, this is how you do it. The next step in fine-tuning your table saw setup is to make sure that this is an accurate vertical, and then you've got your 45 degrees as an accurate bevel. Now, to make sure that your project is going to work, you want to make sure this is very accurate. So we use a handy measuring device to make sure it's square. Here's one. We also use these digital angle finders, or you have these level boxes. You know, any of these devices you can find in a hardware store or online, your favorite place. Let's show how you can fine-tune this. You come around the front. You unlock the angle with the paddle here. Push the knob in. Turn it over to your 45. And we'll just take this tool here. That goes nice to 45. Excellent. We don't have to do anything. If you do want to adjust it, here's how. Now there's a screw with an end stop that's adjustable here at the 0 end and here at the 45 end. If you want to change the angle that it stops at, you just undo this screw lightly, move the stop here against the blade, and tighten it. So you can fine-tune the angle for 0 degrees and 45 at each end of this. It's an easy adjustment. You shouldn't have to touch it, but here's how you do it just in case. We'll just roll this back to 0, lock it in place, and put our blade guard back on. Nice and easy. Always put your tools away. Okay, our RAGE5-S table saw has a 2-piece adjustable rip fence here. You got the main part of the rip fence and this adjustable faceplate. I'll show you how these work. Now, this is very important for your table saw, is to have this parallel. This guides your whole workpiece coming in here so you have a nice accurate cut. This should be set up nice and accurate from the factory, but it is easy to adjust and set up to make sure that it's going to be parallel all the time. I'll show you how this is done. Now you take your blade changing wrench, your spanner here. You can loosen these 2 screws here. You see them right at the top. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So you loosen those off a little bit. Again, we're always using this ridge as our datum, as our main reference point here. So you get this, you know, you can move it a bit. You get this nice and aligned straight. Lock that down. Tighten the screws. And with those bolts tightened, everything inside here is cinched up good and tight. This will be nice and parallel. It's super fast and easy to adjust this. It's a great touch. So again, when we're setting this up for cutting, you measure your distance from the blade to make your cut properly. You lock your table down. The faceplate's adjustable with these little screws. Now you just put the end of it about 30 millimeters past the start of the blade. Tighten it in. Now what this does is it gives you a nice long leading edge to get your workpiece up to the saw. And then with this out of the way, it's already being cut at this point, so this gives your workpiece and your material space to spread out and leave the saw. So this accessory faceplate that's adjustable gives you a nice long lead in for a trouble-free, no stress cut, and everything's nice and parallel. This is very easy to set up. The other thing to look at is the scale. There's an orange scale and a black scale on both sides here, and you have a dual reading indicator here. So I'll raise this up. With the faceplate on, we'll put this right next to the blade, and my mark is right here on the black 0. If I take the faceplate off and put this against the blade, it's right against the orange 0. So with or without the faceplate, you have an accurate scale, and that's on both sides of the blade. So if you're to take the rip fence off and use it on this side of the blade, you have a matching scale and you have an indicator needle on both sides. So if you're wondering why you have 2 sets of numbers, that's with or without the faceplate. This lines up nice. So that's how you adjust your adjustable rip fence here. One of the excellent things about this RAGE5-S table saw is the adjustable miter gauge that comes with it. Now this miter gauge works with this sliding carriage to give you a lot of new options. This is great for fine work or for small work pieces. You can get everything held in and cut nice and accurate. I'll show you how it works. So the whole thing slots into this T-slot on the sliding carriage. Slide that in. Now you can use this screw to lock it into the carriage, which will release here. And slide the whole thing like so. Or you can lock the carriage, unscrew this bit, and this slides independently in the track. This gives you a lot of flexibility. So it comes with this adjustable hold down clamp to prevent the workpiece from bouncing around, which just locks in here. That's adjustable for height and angle. to suit your workpiece. And then you have this adjustable faceplate. You can remove it, or you can move this in and out to suit your workpiece, the angle, or get close to the blade. So you got a lot of flexibility here. You set the angle, a wide range of adjustment with this knob here, and you can make sliding cuts. Again, this is great for small workpieces or fine work. You can slide this independently or together with the whole sliding carriage. Letting this come out gives you a great advantage as well, because this gives you a lot of space for your workpiece on the top. Of course, when you're putting a piece of wood or a material onto the table saw, having this extra bit to support the workpiece is really helpful. And that's one of the great unique things about this RAGE5-S. There we go, the adjustable miter gauge and sliding carriage. It's a nice piece. Okay, the RAGE5-S has this handy dandy sliding table extension. So we release this paddle, and you can move this out to support bigger workpieces, set it where you want, and you lock that paddle down, and it's fixed in place. Now, if you're in the case where you've been using your table saw for a bit and maybe this doesn't lock it as tight as you want, you can firm this up with this easy step here. When you're looking at the paddle, you can see there's a rod that engages on the front rail and the rear rail. It just goes through and engages on both sides in the groove in this extrusion. Now, if you're in a position where you got it locked down and this doesn't stay in place, you can take a tool, I think it's an 8mm wrench, and you just turn this counterclockwise. Turning it counterclockwise pulls it in, and this hugs the extrusion a little bit better. So a couple turns counterclockwise here, a little turn counterclockwise here at the rear, and this will lock it in and get a better grip on these extrusions. You should never have to touch that, but if it does come a little bit loose, now you know how to fix it. So when you're finished using your table saw, this RAGE5-S easily folds up and rolls out of the way for storage. So you can put it away, free up some space on your floor, or easily transport it to the next place you want to use it. I'll show you how that's done. You grab the handles, kick this little pedal, and lift it. And there you are. This is easy to roll around. Stores out of the way. When you're ready to go, lock it in. You're quickly back in action. So, I hope this video has been helpful for you in order to fully set up and fine-tune your table saw. I'll follow this video up in the near future with a guide to assist you with the different kinds of cutting operations you can perform on this machine. Standard straight cuts, rip cuts, bevel cuts, repetitive cross cuts, all that stuff. It's an excellent machine, very capable. In the meanwhile, if you have any further questions about this saw and others regarding the setup, the assembly, how to use it, you can see the Evolution Power Tools website. We'll have all the contact details, technical assistance, phone numbers, and drawings. Once again, I'm Lee from the design team here at Evolution Power Tools. We'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.